Shout out to Coco 2005 for sending me this story, and this is an update. For those of you who do not remember who this woman is, this is Nicole Poole Franklin, and if you don't remember her, let me give you a little backstory. About a month or two ago, she purposely ran down two non-white children. The first one she hit, but we didn't find out until later that this was the first one she hit, was a 12-year-old black boy. And then in the same day, she turned right back around, found a Mexican girl who we did hear about, and I think she was 14, and ran her over. Luckily, neither one of them died from being hit by this woman. She yelled racial slurs to both of them and all kinds of things, and all they did was simply arrest her. Well, fast forward to February 12th when this article was posted, and surprise, surprise, and I'm using that in pure sarcasm, the court found Nicole Poole Franklin mentally incompetent to stand trial. Are we surprised? No, we are not. And then this happened in Iowa, which makes it even not more surprising at all. It's Iowa. Let's see what this article is saying. An Iowa woman who was facing 2 counts of attempted murder in December hit and run attacks on 2 children, including one that police said targeted a girl because she looked Mexican, has been ruled mentally incompetent to stand trial. The woman, Nicole Marie Poole Franklin, age 42, and that's a hard 42, was declared unfit by a Polk County judge on Tuesday, according to court filings. Ms. Franklin was also charged with a hate crime in a separate episode that authorities said took place in between the December 9th hit-and-run attacks. They said Ms. Franklin yelled racial epithets at a convenience store clerk and a customer in West Des Moines. Law enforcement officials have characterized all 3 attacks as racially motivated. The victim of the first hit and run was a 12-year-old black boy. A public defender requested a competency evaluation for Ms. Franklin, who court records have shown has an extensive criminal record and history of mental illness. The public defender Matthew S. Shealy and prosecutor in the case, Polk County Attorney John P. Sarcone, did not immediately respond to requests for comments on Wednesday night. The nature of Ms. Franklin's mental illness was not immediately clear. Now, what have I told y'all in the past? Whenever they slap the mental illness card on anybody, especially them, you want to find out exactly what are they mentally diagnosed with. What exactly? Because when you say someone has a mental illness, it's so vague. They don't explain to you what exactly they have. They just say, oh, this person has a history of mental illness. Okay, what do they have specifically? Like, what were they specifically diagnosed with? Because when you're diagnosed with something, you don't just say, oh, they have a mental illness. That's just like cancer. There's many forms of cancer. What kind of cancer does this person have? And in what stage are they in? It's always a breakdown to it. It's not just, oh, this person has a mental illness. But see how they said it was not made immediately clear. They just said, oh, she's got a mental illness. We're just going to go with that. Because she looks crazy. She is crazy. But because she looks crazy, and she said, because history's showing that she has a record of having mental illness, but they made sure to also mention she had a criminal record as well. But according to them, her mental illness is the reason why she has a quote unquote criminal record. The Des Moines Register reported that Ms. Franklin, a Des Moines resident, will undergo treatment at the Iowa Medical Classification Center. So basically what they're doing is the same thing that they did with John Lee Coward before his trial began, really. The same thing they did with Sean Urbanski before his trial. Notice that every time something like this happens with them, they always have to go through all these evaluations before the trial starts. Like officially now is going to push this back even more. This doesn't mean that they're taking the charges of which he's been charged with off the table. It's just that now, because they have declared her mentally incompetent to stand trial at the moment, that means the trial is now delayed until they can get an evaluation back to the court saying that she now can stand trial, and then they'll go forward with it. It's all just a delay. So if the trial was supposed to start last week, it's not going to probably start until maybe a month or two later. And I hate that they do that, because it's like you got to hope that they finally come back and say, oh, this person is finally competent to stand trial. And if they do it long enough, or they're convincing enough, then they may not have to stand trial at all, and they'll probably put them in some kind of an asylum, which is what they tried to do with John Lee Coward, but it didn't work. To be ruled incompetent under Iowa state law, a defendant must have a mental disorder that prevents the person from appreciating the charge, understanding the proceedings, or assisting effectively in the defense. A person can later be declared competent to stand trial by a psychiatrist or licensed doctorate level psychologist. The judge suspended the legal proceedings against Ms. Franklin until April 21st. What did I tell you? When there will be another hearing on her mental health status, and that's the thing. Now they have to wait until April to have a hearing just on her mental capacity, not the hearing on the trial itself for what she did, leading her to get to this point, but just to have a hearing to say, okay, yay or nay, is she good or is she not? Then after that, then they gotta set a trial date for the actual trial to get started. And who knows when that's going to happen, because they have to happen in a particular order when the judge may be backed up with other cases. It's all a dog and pony show at this point. Miss Franklin made headlines in December when she drove her Jeep Cherokee into a 14-year-old girl who was walking on the sidewalk to a junior high school in Des Moines, suburb to Clyde, the police there said. The girl sustained a concussion and bruises that required her to be hospitalized, according to local television station KCCI, which interviewed the victim. She was later discharged. Ms. Franklin told investigators that she targeted the girl because she looked Mexican, the police said. She also made derogatory comments about Latinos, and investigators said Michael G. Venema, the police chief in Clive. About 1 hour earlier, Ms. Franklin struck a 12-year-old boy who was walking on the sidewalk of a Des Moines apartment complex. Witnesses told the police that the SUV accelerated immediately before the crash, which officials said left the boy with minor injuries. In between the hit and run attacks, Ms. Franklin went on a tirade at a Conoco convenience store in West Des Moines. In addition to the hate crime, she was charged with public intoxication and shoplifting. The woman's just a staunch racist. She doesn't like anybody who is not palm colored. She hit a 12-year-old black boy. She hit a 14-year-old girl that she said looked Mexican, and then within that same time frame went and cussed out and used racial slurs against a convenience store owner who might have been Arab. So the lady just doesn't like anybody that's not palm colored. She's a racist, and she's proven that. She almost killed 2 kids because of it. But they want to deem her mentally incompetent. Only in America, y'all. Only in America. She has 2 things working on her side: her skin complexion and apparently her sex. Not saying that it wouldn't happen any other way if it was a male. But the fact of the matter is, look at the evidence that's presented before you. She even admitted that she used racial slurs. She admitted that she hit the girl because she looked quote unquote Mexican. And to find out that she hit a black boy an hour earlier, even though we didn't find out at the same time when she hit the girl, and now finding out about this convenience store, because I don't know if I remember talking about that in the initial video about her. And all of this happened within a day. Within a day. I think one happened on the 9th. That was the convenience store part. And then the other 2 happened on the 10th, the very next day. I mean, but you know, mentally ill or mental illness is a card that they love to portray onto them. But let that have been anybody else, especially anybody that look like us. We don't get the mental illness card, even though we are clearly diagnosed with or could be diagnosed with a mental illness, because we're supposed to be seen as people that don't have all these issues. But that just lets you know who's the ones that should be locked up and those who should not be. Y'all let me know what y'all think about this update down in the comments. Like, share, subscribe. If you haven't done so already, follow me on Twitter. Have your notifications turned on, and I will talk to you in the next one.